Hi everyone, Squatch'ya doing? It's Angie, and I'm here with another Sasquatch story. This encounter I had was in Northern Maine. It was between April 1st of 2023, and I ended up leaving on April 28th of 2023. I did not leave early. I was already planned to leave on the 28th, but during that month, a whole bunch of stuff happened. And so I wanted to relay the story to you. I did write down some notes so I can keep my timeline accurate, but it was a crazy month. So let's get into it. So let me start off by saying that I have allergies. I have extreme allergies, and I literally have to leave the state I live in twice a year to get away from the allergies. Long story, won't go into it, but this is how I ended up in Maine. I just wanted to tell you that part of the story. Because why does a girl from Arkansas end up in Maine by herself? That's why. I'm not getting rid of my allergies. I'm getting away from my allergies. April 1st, 2023, myself and my husband get to Southwest Harbor, Maine. Now, I'm not going to tell you the exact location in that town, nor will I show any pictures of the actual house. For obvious reasons, I don't want the real owners of the home to have any fallout from this. All I'll say though is it happened in Southwest Harbor, Maine. So my husband and I arrived on April 1st, 2023. I had rented a house for a full month there, and we arrived. My husband came with me to get me all set up. The plan was he would stay for a couple days, and then he would go back to Arkansas, and I would remain in Maine alone by myself, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Mind you, I know nobody in Maine. So I was there alone without knowing a soul. So April 1st, we get settled in. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, my husband and I are out exploring, enjoying the area, digging the Bar Harbor, digging the Maine coastline, loving the, all the boats out there, with the little bells dinging. It's so quintessential New England. It's fantastic. Everything was great. Not a problem in the world. So I take my husband to the airport on April 5th. And when I get home from the airport, it's my first night alone. And I'm sitting on the couch in the evening in the living room downstairs. Now I have a habit of closing all the blinds and curtains in a home at nighttime. That falls back to the time that I saw a Sasquatch looking at me through the window. Ever since then, I've always just been really paranoid at night with things looking in the windows at me. So it's just my habit of going around the house where I'm at and closing all the blinds and all the windows. So I did that. I was all locked in the house. I was safe. I was secure. So I'm eating dinner. I'm sitting on the couch, just enjoying the evening. And just out of nowhere, just a wave of fear washes over me. I'm sitting on the couch and I am just petrified all of a sudden. And it's like, what's going on? Why am I so scared? What's going on? Couldn't figure it out. And that feeling would not leave. I mean, it was really intense. And I was just like, oh, Angie, you're just being scared. It's your first night alone. You've never really been alone ever. So yeah, you're just scared. But it was weird. I mean, I've been home alone here in Arkansas. My husband goes to a business seminar and I'm home alone. That's never happened. So it was really odd that I was experiencing that type of emotion and I couldn't explain why. In the house, like I said, all the windows were closed except for one. Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of a layout of the house. So the backyard is where actually you came in and out of the house. So you would pull into the yard, which is the back of the house, the backyard. You would park there. You would walk up some steps, a couple steps onto a little back porch, and then in through the door. So even though it was technically the back door, it's technically the front door. You know what I'm saying? And so next to that door, like I said, there's a porch on the outside. But on the inside, there's the door. There's a giant circle window, and then stairs that led upstairs to the bedrooms. The only window in the house that did not have any type of covering in any way, shape, or form was that huge round window that was in between the door and the stairs. Now, mind you, if you looked out that window, you were technically looking into the backyard, and in the backyard would be the car that I had rented. Then they had a little, for lack of a better word, garage that was freestanding on its own that I had zero access to. I wasn't allowed to use that at all. And then up against that was pine trees, a bunch of them. And so that's the layout of the land. So if I'm sitting in the house and I'm going to go up the stairs, I have to pass that big window. And like it was a big window. And you could see clearly, the garage, all the trees, the car, and it was dark. I don't know if you've ever been to this part of Maine, but at nighttime it is dark. There was no outside lights. Well, there was outside lights, but there was those solar ones that led, up the pathway to the porch. But they're not very bright, and some of them didn't work. So there was basically no light back there. So fast forward, that night I was feeling that terror feeling, not understanding why, but all I knew was I didn't want to walk past that window. When it was time to go to bed, I was like, I don't want to walk past that window. And I hadn't thought that the whole time I was there. So now why all of a sudden am I scared to pass that window? I was like, oh, Angie, I was just trying to rationalize it. Angie, you're fine. Just go to bed. Go past the window, go to bed. And that's what I did. The next time I felt that weird feeling was about 4 days later. So like I said, I was okay to brush off the April 5th weird feeling. I just kind of wrote it off to I'm just scared being by myself. Then April 9th rolls around. Once again, I'm sitting on the couch in the evening. I'm locked in the house. All the shades are drawn, totally good. Watching TV, not a care in the world. And then all of a sudden that wave comes over me again. Now mind you, it's 4 days later. And I'm like, what? And Sam Hill, why am I suddenly petrified? I'm sitting there and I'm just petrified. I wasn't watching anything scary. I wasn't reading anything scary. It was just out of the blue. And I was just like, what do I do? I don't know what's going on. Why am I so petrified? Now, mind you, this was not late in the evening. When I say I'm sitting on the couch watching TV, it was roughly, 8 o'clock. So, a lot of times people say, oh, things happen, after midnight or early in the morning. This wasn't the case. This was early evening, like shortly after sundown. So like I said, I'm going to say 8 o'clock. Don't hold me to that number. I just say that in reference to it was early in the evening, not late. So once again, I'm sitting there and this terrifying feeling comes over me. And once again, it's time for me to go to bed after a while of me sitting there. And once again, I just did not want to pass that window. Just something in me said, there's something out there. And I was by myself. I was petrified and there was no way I wanted to look out that window. But on the flip side, I didn't want whatever was out there seeing me. And so, but I had no choice. To get to my bedroom, I had to go upstairs, which I had to pass that window. So I did, but I tried to go as fast as possible. But still, when you pass a window, it doesn't matter how fast you are, whatever, if there's something out there, it's going to see you. All right, so I go to bed April 9th. With that terrified, scared feeling. Now, mind you, even though I would go upstairs, the feeling wouldn't go away. I would still be feeling petrified, and I didn't know why. So the morning of April 10th, I'm getting ready to leave the house to go do a day trip. I opened up the door. The door opens. When you open the door, you pull in. Instead of pushing out, you pull in. So when I opened the door, I opened up the door. And before I even stepped out onto the porch, I kind of looked around and I saw debris all over the little back porch that was not there the day before. It was perfectly clean. I'm the only one there. It was not windy. And all of a sudden, there's like little twigs all over, like that lichen moss stuff all over the porch. And I'm like, what in Sam Hill happened down here last night while I was sleeping? And then when I looked down, do y'all know what those cutie tangerines are? About the size of those? Probably about, I don't know, yay big. Yay big. There was a rock that was placed right in front of the door. And not really in front of the door, on the door. So you know that metal plate that's on the threshold that when you walk through the door frame, There's that metal plate that it was sitting on the outside of the door, obviously outside, but on that plate right in front of the door. It could not be missed. And that was not there the night before. And so I'm looking at the debris and I'm looking at this rock that's placed right in the middle of the door. I mean, you could not miss it. And I was like, what in Sam Hill? What is this? Now at this time, Bigfoot was not even in my thought. I was like, this is really weird for a person to do. If somebody is going to come here, won't they just like knock on the door or announce themselves somehow? You know, a normal human being is not just going to place just an ordinary rock on your door and throw debris on your porch. It just doesn't make sense. And so I was sitting there thinking, what could it be? Now, mind you, I don't really know all of the animals in Maine. This was my first time ever going there. And so I was like, okay, well, what do they have here? What do they have? They have deer. Well, a deer won't do this. They have raccoons. I don't see a raccoon bringing me a rock just out of the blue. Plus, I hadn't seen any around there. I saw lots of squirrels, but a squirrel ain't going to bring, a rock up into my door and place it in front of my door. I mean, it really had the feeling of it was a gift, that something purposely set it there. And I was just like, even though Bigfoot was not on my radar, I knew of Bigfoot. I'm a child of the 70s. I've always heard of Bigfoot my whole life growing up, but I never really, it wasn't on my compass. I knew of it, but it wasn't on my compass. So just like other people, when, Finding Bigfoot would come on, I would watch it. Once a week, I would watch it. But that was the extent of my Bigfoot knowledge. And so when I saw the debris and when I saw the rock, it didn't click yet because I didn't know enough about their behaviors. But I did find it was highly strange and I was trying to figure out what happened. I even talked to my husband. I called him. I said, hey, I got something to tell you. And I said, I don't understand what's going on. And we talked about it and he was like, yeah, that's weird, but I don't know either. So we just kind of left it at that. So the rock incident happened on April 10th. April 11th rolls around. And once again, I'm sitting on the couch, early evening, just relaxing. And that petrified, scared feeling just washed over me again. And I was like, whatever did that to the porch yesterday, is it back? Is that why I keep getting scared? So now I'm trying to put two and two together, but I still don't have enough to go off of. So like I said, April 11th, the next day, get the weird feeling, same scenario over again. Nothing happens. It's just the extremely weird, scared, petrified feeling, and the same thing. I have to go upstairs to go to bed and I really don't want to pass that window. That window is always an issue. Well, we'll just leave it at that for right now. So April 11th, weird feeling. April 12th, sitting on the couch, same thing. Towards evening, I'm sitting there and sun goes down. I'm just chilling, relaxing. And all of a sudden, that feeling washes all over me again. Just petrified. And at this point, I'm starting to get really annoyed because I'm starting to dread nightfall. Now I'm like, okay, it's getting close to night. Am I going to have that scared feeling again? Is whatever's giving me the scared feeling going to be coming around again? It was starting to get very unnerving, but yet nothing substantial was going on at this point. Besides the debris on the porch and the rock in front of my door that was put there on purpose, nothing else besides just uber strong, scared, petrified feelings, which is hard to wrap your head around. It really is, especially when it just hits you out of the blue. That was what I say, April 12th. Nothing happened for about the next 6 days. And there's a reason. My husband, daughter, and her fiance came up to visit me. I now suddenly had company. I wasn't alone anymore. And then everything just stopped. There was no more weird feeling at night. I wasn't scared. Nothing happened while they were there And that really disappointed me because I really wanted it to happen while they were there, because I wanted them to experience what I was experiencing. Because even though my husband believed me, even though he didn't know what to think of it, my daughter was like, Mom, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm not. This is for real. You know, I'm not a liar. I hate liars. If you want to ever get rid of me, lie to me one time and I'm gone. I just do not put up with lying. So she really didn't know what to think of it either. So she was just saying, Mom, you're crazy. But I wanted them to feel what I was feeling. I wanted them to feel that terror, even though I don't want them to feel it. I wanted them to experience it so they knew what I was talking about. But it was absolutely quiet the whole time they were there, which was disappointing. But in a way, I'm glad, because I didn't want them to be scared, especially my daughter. I was not anticipating what was about to start happening. So now we are at April 18th of 2023. My family had gone back home and they had been gone, I don't know, a day or two when the next incident happened. Like I said, all up until now, it was just weird feelings and the debris and the rock. So April 18th, which happens to be my birthday, thank you very much, I was sitting on the couch, just like all the other evenings. I was tucked into the house, everything was locked, curtains drawn, watching TV, and all of a sudden, the weird feeling is back. And I was like, oh no, oh, good golly, Angie, what's going on? You know? And so as I'm sitting there petrified on the couch in the kitchen, which is back and diagonal from me, all of a sudden, I heard the loudest bang. Now, when it banged, it wasn't low. You could tell where the sound came from, that it was from the top of the kitchen wall, from the outside. Something on the outside hit the very top of the kitchen wall, and hard and loud. And I can almost believe my heart stopped. I just sat there and my eyes were as big as saucers. My mouth was like dropped open, and it was paralyzing fear. Something just slapped the side of the house. And like I said, it wasn't, normal level. It was from the very top, and I didn't know what to do. I sat there in utter frozen fear. I'm alone. I am unarmed, no protection, kind of like a sitting duck in there. And what do you do with that? What do you do? You're alone in a strange place. You know nobody. I could have called 911, but I didn't want to be laughed at or mocked or thinking this girl's crazy. I just didn't think that they would help. I didn't think that they would take that seriously. So that really wasn't an option. There was nobody else I could call. I can't call my husband. He's in Arkansas. And here I am, helpless, and something outside at the very top just slapped the house. Well, needless to say, I got quite scared. That was basically all that happened that night. But that was enough. I mean, seriously, have you ever had your house slapped? It'll scare you. April 19th rolls around, and I am sitting once again at nighttime on the couch, just chilling, wondering, what's going to happen tonight, if anything. So I'm sitting there. Now, I'm going to give you some lay of the land again. I'm sitting on the couch. It's a narrow living room. The living room is only about 4 feet wide. It's long, but it's narrow. So you got the couch on the back wall, then you got a coffee table, then you have about 1.5 feet of walkway, and then the TV is on the wall. And that wall, though, is the wall from the living room to the outside. So just separating me from the outside is the front porch, is that wall that I'm looking at, which is 4 feet away. And on each side of the TV, there's sliding glass doors that take you to the deck. So you can get to the deck 2 ways, but it's only 4 feet from where I'm sitting. All right, here we go. So I'm sitting there, nighttime, start getting the weird feeling. I'm like, okay. Now, do you guys know of that old, I'm gonna say wrought iron because I don't really know metals, but that old iron metal furniture, patio furniture that's almost always painted black, and it's very heavy. That's the furniture they had on the front porch. And I'm sitting there, all of a sudden I heard it move. I heard the furniture move. It was not windy, so it was not the wind blowing it around. And by the way, the wind couldn't have, because there were other nights that the wind was whipping around that house and the furniture never moved. I was expecting it to, but it didn't. That night it was not windy, but as I was sitting there, I heard, at that point I didn't know what it had moved. I just heard the furniture move. And if you've ever moved that furniture, it's so heavy that it doesn't just slide. It kind of like skips and jumps, you know? And it happened for about 2 to 3 seconds, the duh, and then it stopped. But it was loud enough to instantly know the furniture is moving. Now, mind you, it's 4 feet from me. Now, yeah, it's outside, but it's just outside. And I was like, something is on the porch. Something is on the porch. Something's on the porch. Is it going to try to come in these sliding glass doors? You know, because who knows? I don't know. I was petrified. I was like, something is out there. Something's out there. But I was frozen. I couldn't get up off the couch, nor did I really want to. I didn't want to see what was out there. I was too scared. And I didn't want what was out there to see me. I don't know why. That's kind of irrational, because whatever's out there knew I was in there, or it wouldn't have been keep coming around. You know, the things you think in the heat of the moment. But the furniture moved on me. Then I knew. I'm like, raccoons aren't going to be up here moving furniture. Deer is not going to be up here moving the furniture. A bear, I mean, theoretically could. But you would hear that thing. You would hear them, you know, how they grunt and groan and all their sounds. Plus, you would probably hear the footsteps. You would hear all of that. I heard nothing. I smelled nothing. Nothing made any type of sound except for the furniture being pulled, which makes that skipping, hopping, very distinct sound on the wood deck. So then I'm like, yeah. It's what I'm thinking it is. Now at this point, when I finally had the realization of I was trying to deny it, you know, with the rock being put in front of the door, and then the slap on the house, and now the heavy furniture being pulled and making that sound, I had to finally say, it is what it is. It's a Sasquatch. Even though I was too petrified to look out the window, the clues were all there. It all added up. And then my thought was, is it going to come in after me? That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, it knows I'm here, obviously, because it keeps coming around. That's why I keep getting scared while I'm sitting on the couch, because those must be the nights that it draws in near. And, you know, just like if you're out in the woods, all of a sudden you get that creepy feeling. It was the same scenario. I just happened to be sitting in the house. You know, you could be sitting in your tent in the middle of the woods and one draw near, and you would still get that creepy, scared, petrified feeling. So it didn't matter to me. I was in a house, safe. Was I? I don't know. I mean, if that thing wanted to come in, it could have busted through the glass doors. It could have busted out a window. Shoot, it probably could have knocked down the front door, you know? So then I'm like, am I safe? Holy cannoli. What am I going to do? I am a sitting duck in here, all by myself, no protection. So I'm a Christian lady. I believe in God. And I just started praying. I was just like, Lord, please send your angels to protect me. I am helpless here. I need you. Help me. And that's the only thing that happened that night. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, you know, have you had Sasquatch come up and move your furniture around? It's kind of scary. Okay, so after the furniture got moved on the patio that night, the next day, which would be April 20th, I said, all right, now that I know in my heart of hearts what it is, I'm going to go out and see if I can find any footprints or anything. Now, mind you, I've never done anything like that. I've never even looked at any animals' prints, you know, really. I mean, you know, we all see animal prints. You know, you're walking on the beach, you're walking in the woods, you see prints, but I'm not the type of person who goes out, and tries to start tracking things and looking for footprints. Never done that in my life. And so I'm out in this yard and I'm looking around for footprints that I don't know how to tell a footprint. And I'm not familiar with their substrate up there. Their yards are different than they are here in Arkansas. It's very soft and squishy, kind of like the walking in the forest in the Pacific Northwest. It has that, I don't even know what type of substrate it is, but it's very soft, very spongy. So I'm walking around the yard. I don't see anything. I go up on the front porch to where the furniture was, and nothing is standing out. I'm not seeing footprints, muddy footprints anywhere. I'm not seeing handprints anywhere. Not seeing hair anywhere. I walked to the side of the house where the kitchen is, and was looking all up and down the outside wall to see if I could see a handprint where it smacked it. Nothing. Looking all around the backyard for footprints. Nothing. That doesn't mean anything really. I wouldn't have known what I was looking for if I would have seen it. I could have walked right up to it and not have realized it. I'm not a tracker. I'm not good at seeing that. I watch videos and they're like, oh yeah, here's a footprint, and I can't see it. I'm like, what? Until they kind of draw an outline around it. I'm like, oh, now I see it. So I'm not the best looking at that. So for me, not seeing anything was not a big deal, because I knew, between the debris and the rock by the door, the slap on the side of the house, the furniture being pulled, that was the evidence I needed. I didn't need footprints. So that was on the 20th. The 22nd, same thing. I had that terrifying feeling. And this time though, like I said, now when I would get the terrified feeling at night, I knew what it was. And my thoughts were always, what's it going to do? Is it going to try to come in? Like I said, every night when I would have to try to pass that window to go upstairs to the bedroom, I hated it. I hated passing that window. And I have a good reason to think why. I really feel that it would be standing out there, trying to look in, trying to see me. And so on April 25th, I was sitting on the couch, evening time, and this time the feeling came, but the feeling was ramped up greatly. I don't even know how to explain it, except it was like 100 times worse. I was sitting there on the couch and I don't even know how to explain it. The fear was so great. It was so much more than it had been the whole rest of the month. I don't know what was different about this time. I don't. All I know was I was like crying on the inside. I did not want to go in front of that window to go upstairs. I wanted to crawl on my belly to get up those stairs so I couldn't be seen passing that window. It was the greatest amount of fear I've had in almost my whole life. There's been a couple other incidences that rank up there, but this was like one of the top 3 instances of scared I've ever been. I don't know why. And I'm thinking though that it must, I don't know. It was just the most terrifying thing. If my skeleton could have jumped out of my skin and ran away, it would have. I mean, that's what it felt like. It was just this impending doom, this impending fear. And, I didn't have to pass through that window to get upstairs to go to bed because there was a bedroom downstairs. But in my fear-based brain, I was like, if I sleep down here and it gets in the house, I'm a goner. That was my thinking. I was like, well, if I can at least make it upstairs, then if it gets in, at least I can hear it getting in. And then I might have a chance to get away, go out a window or something upstairs. Irrational, but that was my thought process at the time. It took every ounce I had to get up off that couch and walk towards the stairs. When I started getting near the stairs where the window is, I put my hand over my face as I turned to go past that window. Instinctively. I don't know why I did it. I don't know if I was trying to keep whatever out there from seeing me, which is irrational because it already knew I was there, or if it kept me from looking. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. And I got up the stairs and I got in bed and I was just petrified. And that was, like I said, on April 25th. And that was the last time that I had that fear feeling. I left on the 28th, which was already planned. That was already my date of leaving. So I came home. I was so happy to be home. I mean, of course, I wanted to be back with my husband. I missed my husband greatly, you know, being apart for a month, and my daughter. And it took a little while being home to kind of decompress from all of that. Still, when nighttime would come, I would get scared because for the whole last month, practically every night, I would get scared. So I was kind of already getting into a pattern of, oh, nightfall, here comes, you know, the fear, or, you know, what might be coming tonight. You know, and it took a while for me to process everything. After that incident, after that whole Maine incident, I did a hard dive into the Sasquatch world. I was like, all right, I need to know what these things are, what their intent is, you know, the whole bit. I was always under the impression that basically they're man-eaters, you know, stay away from Sasquatch. It will take you into the woods and you'll never be seen again. It will kill you. It will eat you. It will tear you apart. It will, you know, danger, danger. And so I needed to know for myself if that was true or not. I needed to know for myself what it was. Was it monkey? Is it an ape? Is it human? What is it? You know, so for the next 2 years, Bigfoot. I watched every documentary I could get my hands on. I was watching everything on TV I could get, you know, to see. I was attending Sasquatch seminars. I was doing everything I could to learn about them. Now I have a different idea and different take on the whole situation. So in hindsight, in Maine, I am really, really sad about how it went down. Knowing now, I wish I would have known then. I would have been interacting with that thing. I would have been leaving it presents. I would have been like trying to see it through the window. I would have been trying to take its picture. I would have been interacting with it. It would have been a whole different ball game. You know, I've learned a lot since then. And I've learned, you know, there's good ones, there's bad ones. And in this particular instance, this one was a good one. It came to me. So it was friendly enough to come to me and try to interact with me. And I was totally misreading all of its symbols. I think it was just trying to get my attention. You know, when it left the rock at the front door, I didn't realize that that was like a gifting thing. You know, oh my gosh, what would I do now to have that? You know, when it slapped the house, I took that as a sign of aggression. But you know what? I don't think it wasn't a sign of aggression. I think it was just trying to get my attention. I think it maybe wanted me to come outside. And I don't think it meant malice if I came outside. I think it was just trying to interact. You know, when it was on the porch and it moved the furniture. Once again, I think it was just trying to get my attention so I would interact with it. So I would open the blinds. So I would come outside. And in my ignorance of the subject at the time, I totally misread it. Now, boy howdy, would I love a redo. I would love to get back up there. And I would love to try to interact with it if it's even still there. I don't know. You know, it's been 2 years. Maybe it's moved on. I don't know. But it was such a cool thing in hindsight to look back on. And so I really, really, really wish I knew then what I know now, because it would have been a whole different situation. Instead of fear-based, it would have been excitement and joy and just a phenomenal thing if I would have known more. So that's my experience in Maine with a Sasquatch in Southwest Harbor. Some people have asked me, well, have you been back to the area? No, I haven't. Some people asked, did you tell the owners? No, I didn't. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. I didn't want to sound like, you know, I was crazy to them. I don't know if they're Bigfoot people. So like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm crazy. So I didn't report it to anybody. I just kept it to my little whole self. Now though, I'm sharing it with the rest of you guys. So I'm not telling you not to be scared of Sasquatch, because just like humans, I believe there's good ones and bad ones. You know, this particular one happened to be a good one. I wish I would have capitalized on that. But, you know, there are ones out there who are aggressive and people who have horrible experiences for good reason. This was not one of those. I wish I would have interpreted it different. But still, keep your head about you, because you just never know. Safety is always the best practice. So if you're ever in a situation and you don't feel safe, it's okay. It's okay. just keep yourself safe. And then maybe when you look back on it, maybe you'll see things differently. Or maybe it is a situation where you need to be scared. Just go with your gut, be smart. I hope you all have a sighting, an interaction. It is really, truly life-changing. Thank you for listening to my story. Check out my other videos if you'd like. Please, my channel, subscribe. Whenever I hit the bell, whenever I get new stuff, I'll put it out. It's winter right now, so I'm not gonna be putting out anything probably new. I'll just be making some videos on some past experiences I've had. But when the weather warms up, I'll get back out there in the field and get some more real-time video footage. But until then, have a great day and Squatch'ya doing.